What's up, my man?
Not much. It's podcast day.
It's podcast day. I want to talk about UFC, but goddamn it, I got to start with the boxing fight Saturday night because Fury Wilder 3 was. I mean, it's getting rave reviews. You know, we're a few days after, so if you're listening to this, you already know. But it was like the best boxing match I've ever seen. Now, I've only seen like 20 of them. You know, if I've seen 2,000 UFC fights, I've seen like 20 boxing matches. It was fucking insane. From the moment that they were supposed to walk out, and it was like the lights were dimmed in the stadium, but no one was coming out. Then the announcers are like, well, there's an issue in Deontay Wilder's locker room. He's not ready for the walk. And I was like, oh, shit, is he going to... He's lost twice. Is he going to pull out or something crazy going on? He finally comes out. The lights go black, and he's wearing some fucking shiny red, like, armor ninja suit. Just looked badass. Had a cool mask over his face. Looked like Sub-Zero's, but it was red, sparkly. And he was a beast, dude. He's ripped. He's 240 pounds of fucking muscle. And I just guess I hadn't paid attention because when I saw him, it was like, poof. And then Fury came out, did some weird walkout, looked fat. I was like, oh, no, this is not going to go well for me. And, dude, from the get-go, it was just a fucking badass war, back and forth. Wilder won round 1, Fury 2, Wilder 3, Fury 4. But seriously, just like that, back and fucking forth. Wilder knocked Fury down. Well, Wilder went down first, but he got right back up and just looked like I slipped, you know. And I thought, here it is, beginning of the end. Next round, he knocks Tyson Fury down. And I'm like, oh, shit, dude, what is going on? Then he knocks him down again in the same round. And I thought it was over, dude. You're not supposed to get up when Wilder knocks you down. Say what you want about him. He's 42-1 with 41 KOs. The one loss and the one draw are to this other guy, Tyson. 41 out of 42 are knockouts. Just think about that. In boxing with 16-ounce gloves. It's hard. Dude, I got my bell rung last week like TKO'd at sparring, but it didn't knock me out because you're wearing boxing gloves. This dude's a fucking monster. So that when Fury went down a second time, I just knew it was over. I mean, even if he got up, you know, you've seen enough TKOs. Like, even when they get up, sometimes you know they're going right back down. And by God, he powered through, knocked that dude down twice. I think it was the 11th. It was just a lights out. No 8 count, 10 count. It was just waved off immediately. Fury knocked him out cold, and it was so badass. And then this goofy fuck grabs the microphone and sings an entire song in the ring. And it was awkward, and it went on too long. But I was like, this dude just went 11 rounds, tested, pushed to the limit. He's in there singing. A couple hours later, I'm trying to go to bed, and there's like Instagram Live of him fucking raving with Steve Aoki or some shit. And I'm like, this motherfucker is an animal. But, I mean, everyone in the fight world saying, you know, best trilogy of all time, best boxing match of all time. Now, you know all about recency bias, but it was epic, dude. If you're not a boxing fan, it is the one to watch to kind of get you in. It's not a one-sided ass whooping. It is a back and forth fucking... It's not a chess match. Not a lot of technique involved. Fucking haymakers and hugging. But, dude, it was so cool. So badass. And I told you, if I hit that, I had a $5... pays $85 UFC parlay because UFC was a matinee. UFC was on at 3 p.m. I was like, sent Chad a screenshot, and I said, when I hit this, it's $85, I'm going to let it all ride on Fury by knockout. Well, I get ahead of myself, and I start typing in 84.97 into Fury by knockout, and I see that it pays like $500. I'm like, this is my night. First fight on the parlay was Charles Rosa over... Damon Jackson.
Yep.
And why don't you tell me how that one went?
Well, Damon Jackson controlled him the whole time. There was never a point in the fight where Charles Rosa was winning.
Ever.
Never. Even in round 3 when Damon Jackson got that nasty cut.
Was that the worst cut you've ever seen?
I don't know if it was the worst one I've ever seen, but it was bad.
It wasn't like the meatiest cut I've ever seen, like gory-wise, I have never seen blood coming out.
Oh,
like
it
that.
was pouring like a water faucet.
It was.
I was getting nervous they were going to stop it due to that fact.
I wanted him to stop it. I was like, oh my God, this is my chance. I'll say this, because I know Charles Rosa is a fan of our show. You're a worthless bag of shit. Like, you've lost 4 out of your last 5 fucking fights. You were ranked in the top 15 not 8 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Thug Nasty did to him, but he fucked Charles up so bad that he's not the same.
No.
The one win in that time is not an impressive victory. And I like Charles. He's a Boston dude, and he's tough looking, and he's like, he beefed with Bryce Mitchell before the fight, but I think it was just to try to sell the fight. After the fight, he was like, that kid's a champion, man. He dominated me, and he was really respectful about it. And when I saw that he was a plus 110 underdog, I thought, easy money. Charles is legit. He's like 15-4. He's a legit contender. And Damon Jackson, every time we see him fight, we're like, oh, that guy surely ain't going to win.
Yeah, his nickname is The Leech.
Yeah, I mean, I could see why. He sucks the life right out of them motherfuckers, man. Charles couldn't do anything on the feet, which is to be expected. Charles is not a striker. Charles couldn't do anything on the ground. Did he even get him down on the ground? I think the only time they were down was when Damon took him down. And then hearing the commentary say, you can definitely see the advantage Damon has down here. Thinking, what the fuck? This is Charles's game.
Yeah.
Thug Nasty, man, for 15 minutes dominated Rosa, but was sub-attempt after sub-attempt after sub-attempt. Sub-attempts are a stat they keep in the UFC, and I bet that fight skyrocketed Bryce Mitchell's, because it's just like, I mean, if that's your main tool, and everyone knows I can't let him get me down or I'm in trouble. And then when you get him down, you get worked. I don't think Damon like dominated him in the jiu-jitsu per se.
No, but he was in control.
He sure took control of every position and range strikes of any sort. Any kind of strikes he could get. It wasn't always like awesome ground and pound. But if he could punch him in the thigh, he did. If he could elbow him in the side of the face, he did. Whatever he could get out of there. And, I really like Damon Jackson now. He's not popular, and I don't know if he's got like a high ceiling. But damn, he's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, he is.
And we've seen him upset a couple guys now.
Yes, we have.
Although he did close as the favorite. I know that's not an upset, but I think anyone in the fight world was leaning towards Charles Rosa. It was just,
I remember when we watched him fight, I think it was Masard Bektik. He was like a plus 400 on a 3 days notice.
That's right.
And won.
Was it a decision or a finish?
He finished him in the third round.
Yeah.
Yeah, on 3 days notice.
Yeah, you're right. I should have jumped on the train then, because anyone in this game that will take a fight on that short of notice, a guy that's not signed or doesn't have like clout where he's safe whether you win or lose, like, you're risking it all.
Mm-hmm.
I should have loved him then. And then after he got the finish, I should have been like, look at this bad son of a bitch. But like I said, he looks weird. He's balding.
He is weird.
He looks like
he looks like a leech.
He looks like a 45-year-old office worker to me. And he comes out there and fucks people up. I mean, it's cool. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's Damon Jackson kicking ass as much or Charles Rosa on the down. I hate to say that about Charles, but he fucked me good Saturday. So it was a UD. I don't know what's next for either of those guys. I mean, I think Charles probably needs to take a step back. Mm-hmm. If Damon's the 20th ranked guy on the planet, which I'm just guessing, you could probably go to Tapology and find out literally what he's ranked, but he's not in the top 15, which is all the UFC actually show the fans. But, Charles is going to have to take some time.
Yeah, take a step back.
Yeah, take a step back, take a little time, figure out what's going on. Hey, you're a badass jiu-jitsu. Maybe he's a black belt, I don't know. Why don't you spend 6 months kickboxing, just fucking striking, and then come back? Now, maybe your jiu-jitsu gets a little rusty, but that's not how it works. You're still going to be a machine on the ground, but you could cause enough fear in people to where the ground presents itself instead of like, this dude will take the most desperate shots, the most desperate clinches against the cage, can't even keep his hands clenched. And I think he finally dragged Damon down to one knee one time, and they were just right back on their feet. It was bad,
Yeah, it was bad.
You got to find another path to victory, but 45 is a juicy division. There's always badasses. Maybe talk a 35er to coming up and fighting or something. I don't know what he needs to do, but I don't think he could ever cut down to bantamweight. But
I don't think so either.
He just didn't seem as strong as Damon Jackson. I'd like to see Damon Jackson get whoever's number 15.
Yeah, I would love to see 15 or 14 somewhere in there.
Yeah, and I don't know who that would be.
I don't either, not off the top of my head.
But
anyone from 13 to 15.
I think he's definitely earned a shot at a ranked opponent, and it'd be good for the guy. It'd be good for the fans because featherweight's good at the top, but we take for granted a lot of those unranked featherweights. Like this guy sucks. Justin James, man, this guy sucks. But those are all bad motherfuckers. Anyone can beat anyone up there. It's one of my favorites. Okay. Jared Vanderhaag got a second round knockout
he got knocked out, yeah.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, Alexander.
Oh, yeah, Romanov. Dude, that dude is huge, bro.
He's huge. He's undefeated.
He was so much bigger than Jared. I couldn't believe the dude survived the first round, let alone he made it to the very end of the second round, dude. It was just one-sided, man.
Yeah, it's time for Romanov to go up in competition.
Yeah, I think so too. They were talking about that Saturday. They were saying that he had won 3 or 4 in a row.
Yeah, and I think that puts him at 14-0 as a pro.
Oh, yeah. So it was 3 or 4 UFC fights.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's now 4-0 in the UFC, 14-0 overall.
Ilya Topuria is the number 15 featherweight. That dude's a fucking beast, dude.
Who's 14 and
Shane
13?
Burgos. Mavzar Evliov. Sadiq Yusuf, Thug Nasty, number 11. Thug Nasty had his way with Charles.
Yeah.
Not too long ago. Okay. The main card, not a barn burner, but there were some good fights, man. Really, the main event was the best fight of the night for me.
Yeah, by far.
I did like the co-main, Randy Rude Boy Brown. God, I love that dude.
Yeah, nasty.
Yeah.
Kick to the face right off the bat, broke his toe.
Dude, that thing's a gif now. That thing's all over the internet. It broke his toe, yeah. Couldn't believe the other guy was on his feet. But the other guy is the guy that missed weight. So he got to come in big, got to come in strong.
And he's a knockout artist right off the bat.
Yes.
They were expecting, if he wins, it's going to be within like 2 minutes.
Yes. I bet that fight to not go the distance. I thought there was no chance. Actually, I bet a weird one. Fight to not start round 3. I couldn't find not to go the distance on there.
Was that on DraftKings or FanDuel?
DraftKings. But Rude Boy looked awesome. That's welterweight. I don't know how high Randy Brown could go, but I like him, and I don't think he's old. He's a young man, and he's looked good his last couple fights. I didn't like seeing Tim Elliott lose.
Yeah, I hated that.
That bothered
I
me.
really wanted him to win.
I like him.
I do.
I like a lot of
I've
those.
always liked Tim Elliott.
Yeah, those old guards that are still... He's still very relevant, and they were talking all night about he's making a title run, one last run, like nowhere near like end of career. And I like that. And he's got Krause as his head coach, and Krause is praising the dude, saying he's never been around more, a guy with more tenure in the fight game that is so teachable. A lot of guys after X amount of years are like, yeah, I know. But he said Tim is like clay. He'll learn. He'll take any advice you'll give. He don't care if you're a second-year fighter. If you see something, tell him. And it bummed me out watching him lose. But he lost. I mean,
he did lose.
It was
It was the right decision. It was the right score.
Yeah, it was the right score. But he just, I don't know, he just seemed smaller. He seemed outmatched, But main event. Let's get this card out of here. I think everybody on the planet thought Mackenzie Dern was going to win. I am guilty of it.
Yeah, I know we talked about this little off air. And we talked about this part on air last week. This was as much of a striker versus grappler as you will ever get.
The definition of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is as much of a striker grappler you'll ever get. And I always end up leaning towards the grappler just because you can get him down,
right?
Get her down.
Yeah.
it's a lot different. But,
Marina won every second that was on the feet.
Yep.
And lost every second that was on the ground. The catch is they were only on the ground for a combined minute, maybe. I don't know how much
almost all around. But there was a good portion around, too, like 4 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, 3 something.
That I know that was the round that we thought might be a 10-8, which it wasn't.
Yeah,
but
it wasn't.
I didn't realize it was 4 minutes.
I think it was 3 minutes something.
I know in the last 2 rounds, Mackenzie got her down at the very end of the round for like 31 seconds on one time, and somewhere in the middle of the fifth, I don't think they went down in the fifth. Maybe it was third and fourth.
So. Yeah.
But after the second round, then it was all on the feet, and she was getting pieced up. And I don't know if the UFC preferred one or the other, but I thought Mackenzie Dern was getting the push.
Yeah, I definitely thought so too.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
Marina was in the main event because Mackenzie was there. I mean, that's...
Yeah, they needed an opponent for Mackenzie Dern.
And it was a bummer to see her go, and it was one-sided, dude.
It was. It was bad.
49-46. You could have called it 48-46 if you did give a 10-8, but the judges obviously thought that she didn't do enough with her ground control. Mm-hmm. You know, like, we always go back to the Dillashaw-Sandhagen fight, but how much points is this kind of shit worth if you're holding the guy down? And
yeah, because we've seen fights go both ways.
Yeah.
That one right there is a prime example. Then we look back at Blachowicz and your boy Izzy.
Yeah.
There's no way that was a 10-8.
I don't think so.
They had 2 10-8s in there.
Yeah, I think they laid down all around 4 and 5. Mm-hmm. But Blachowicz didn't do anything.
Held him down.
Now, Izzy didn't do anything to get out of it. That was his fault. But, yeah, how can you call that a 10-8?
Right.
You know, I was in a round just the other day where it was even for like a minute, and then the dude did this awesome lightning quick back take, and he was choking the fuck out of me. And I laid there for like a minute and a half getting out of the choke, and when I finally got on top of him, I was so dead that I just laid there on top of him. Everyone in the room thought I lost the round. I mean, because he was choking me for a minute. Laying on someone means nothing to the community. It means nothing. How the fuck some of these boxing judges that we got in MMA can give 10-8s when they do and not give them when they don't? It blows my fucking hair.
There's not enough consistency.
I know.
No, because if that was 2 10-8s in that fight of Jon and Izzy, well, that was like a fucking 10-6.
10-6, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in this Dern fight, I mean, that there's not enough consistency.
Can you imagine had they given like a 10-7?
Oh, my goodness.
It'd have been a draw or something maybe. But...
Well, I was wondering that as the fight went on because, like we're saying...
she could have got another round.
You never know.
You never know.
With the judges, I told Maud Dad, I said, that could have been a 10-8 round. Could have been.
I thought it was immediately.
I gave it a 10-8 round.
Yeah, I did too.
So it was interesting. I was like, I thought Rodriguez won the first one. 10-8'd the second one. So now...
For Dern.
Yeah, for Dern. Then Rodriguez won round 3. I thought they were even at that point.
Yep, and then you got 4 and 5.
Yep.
Now 5 was all Rodriguez, but...
Oh, yeah.
4 could have been one... 4 she won too, but could have been one of those ones where the judges fucked it up. Mm-hmm. So you could have been looking at a split draw, or... You just never know. I think if the UFC was rigged, it would have been a fucking split draw because, Mackenzie was obviously the one.
That's the sell. Yeah.
So Rodriguez... is now a strawweight contender. I mean, they were acting like this fight was for a title fight. So, we how long till the strawweight title gets defended? Is it 3 weeks?
Yeah, November 6th.
November 6th. So, November 6th, I hope Thug Rose finishes Zhang Weili. But Zhang's training with Henry, bro.
Yeah.
And you know how much I think about Henry.
You still got Carla Esparza up in the mix because she's on a 5-fight win streak.
Rodriguez versus Carla.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Because Marina did not take any damage.
No.
She would probably fight January, December.
Marina's one loss in the UFC is to Carla Esparza.
There you go.
So how do you not do that?
Title eliminator. I love it. But, that was a afternoon matinee card, not a very big card. If you love the sport, you probably watched it, but nothing too juicy. We got the same deal going on this weekend. We got a little bit of a dry spell before it heats up. But, dude, when it comes back, it's coming back hard. 2 pay-per-views, 2 weeks in a row. Like, title fights out the ass. I think you were counting them up to me the other day and said, like, can you believe there's like 9 title fights in the next 3 months or whatever it was. So
yeah, and they're moving so much around, which we'll get to in a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it just keeps getting better and better. The further we look out, it just keeps getting great.
Even when they're moving some of these fights back, it's like, oh shit, now February kicks ass too.
Right, that's what I was kind of getting at.
And in the next couple of weeks, we'll start seeing some March announcements. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be awesome. Like the whole Christmas time and even up into spring, it looks like it's just going to be awesome.
As soon as the October 30th card hits.
Yeah, it's balls to the wall. Yeah. And I love that. Okay, this weekend we got Aspen Lad versus Norma Dumont, which is a bit of a controversial main event. Was this the weekend that Misha... No, this was Holly Holm's weekend.
Holm.
So Holly Holm was supposed to be the main event, which makes a lot more sense because Holly's a superstar.
Yeah.
So Aspen Lad, this is the controversy, right? She missed weight last week.
Yeah, she missed weight.
So Aspen misses weight. And, if you're a UFC fan, you know that weight misses happen almost every Friday. It's frowned upon. If you miss badly... I mean, it can be a lot worse than just docking your pay. It can be like, hey, fuck it, if you ain't going to try. A guy misses by 4 or 5 pounds or a lady, and it looks like they knew they weren't going to make it, so they quit suffering. So the opponent laid there and sweated in the floor for 3 days while they were eating Cheetos saying, hey, I'm going to fuck this bitch up. And it does. It happens. Quite often, the person who's 5 pounds heavy gets a TKO victory. It just happens too much. You don't think that sounds like a lot? But it is. It's not just the pounds. It's the muscle that they sweat off when they're draining all that water out of their body. It's the mental anguish they go through for 72 or 96 hours of just like laying there like, dude, weight cuts are brutal. I mean, you know the sport enough. Weight cuts are like people crying, and you're always emotional when you're doing it and like wanting to quit, wanting to give up, pull out of fights. I guarantee you, I'll say 30% of the time, that someone pulls out of a fight due to injury on fight week, it's weight. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you. Because injury sounds so much better than,
yeah, I'm not going to make it.
I couldn't do it. So there's a little bit of drama here because Aspen Lad's basically getting rewarded 7 days later with a main event, which she would have never had. Ever. I mean, it's just she's not a main event fighter. But it is up at featherweight, which is a dying weight class.
Yeah.
She did not get to fight at 35, so this does not affect her bantamweight aspirations at all. She can go out here and dominate, and she's not, like, going to get a bantamweight title shot. I mean, so I understand that. And also, I heard her make a comment today. She said, use your fucking head, people. You think I was their first call? I was just the one that would take it. She's a dangerous fucking opponent. No one wanted to fight her on short notice. And I thought, she's right. They didn't call Aspen Lad first. They probably called a couple bad bitches that said, I ain't doing this on 7 days' notice. I'll take a training camp.
Yeah.
Because Norma Dumont, she's good.
She's good.
She's really good. But last week when Aspen missed the weight, she had said, she had put out a statement, which some people shouldn't do. And it said, I know I'm going to get a bunch of shit, but I started my period, and it affected the cut. And it was fucking weird. It was like TMI, and like, don't make excuses. This is your job. And you get paid like 30 to 60K if you're the bottom of the barrel to do this one fight. Like, I don't want to hear why you didn't make weight. I'm not downplaying anything to do with, that time of the month for her or whatever.
Yeah, but she also knew that was coming.
Have you ever heard a fighter say that?
No.
It's the first time I've ever heard it.
I've never heard that.
I've never heard Ronda say, well, shit, I was on the rag, so I'm pulling out of the title fight.
I'm going to be about 4 pounds heavy.
Never heard it. Not from a prelim fighter, not from a cage Fury fighter. Never, dude.
That was a new one on me.
New one. It was a new one. But Aspen's a prospect. So is Norma. I don't care who wins. I hope they both look good, and I hope it's a good fight. It is kind of crazy that it's the main event when you have people like Andrei Arlovsky or Jim Miller on the card, but, they're on the way out. Asking Andre to fight 5 rounds is just probably asking for trouble, You better hope it's a first-round finish.
Yeah, and Jim Miller is setting a record this weekend for the most UFC fights ever.
All time?
Yeah.
Do you know the number?
38? It's either 37 or 38. I believe he has 37
37 is what he has.
And he will hit 38.
That's right. Yeah, that's cool, dude. That's cool. That's top of the pops. I mean, UFC is as good as it gets. 38 fights. You know, you see guys with stats like the most cage time in UFC history, and those are just like decision fighters. It doesn't mean they have 38 fights.
No.
They might have 12 decisions, and 6 of them were title fight decisions. You know, you never know. But co-mains, Andre versus Carlos Felipe. Love watching Andre fight. It's a coin flip with him lately, which is understandable. I think he was the champion like 15 years ago.
Yeah, he was. Long time ago.
15 years ago, and he's still fucking fighting. And I love it. And he doesn't look pitiful or nothing in there.
No.
He just sometimes gets caught.
He looks like he's wearing his age.
Has he been finished recently? I think. Who was it that took that side of the head shot?
I don't remember.
It was one of the old guys.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
I don't know what Andre's done lately, but I know that I probably won't bet on him. Love seeing him fight. He's badass. They're showing the Travis Brown fight all over social media this week, which was like so badass. Back and forth. It was like a 4-minute fight, but it was epic.
Yeah, it was just complete madness for a whole round, like the most wild heavyweight round we've ever seen.
Ever.
Yeah,
It was awesome, dude. Jim Miller's fighting Eric Gonzalez. I don't know who that is. I mean, I'm
not very familiar with him.
I know a lot of fighters, a lot of prelim fighters, and he's a main card in it, and I have no idea. Let's see, women's flyweight. We got Maria Bueno Silva. She's a bit of a somebody.
Yeah, we've watched her fight several times.
Several times. Julian Marquez. That's that guy that's been tweeting to. He's the guy that keeps hitting on that singer.
Miley Cyrus.
Yes. Yeah, he keeps calling her out.
Isn't he like the, man, what's his name? It's something fucking crazy. Isn't it like the Cuban Missile Crisis or something, his nickname?
Oh, I can't.
It's just something completely off the
I can't remember
wall.
his nickname.
Yeah, I really think that's what it is, though.
But he's fighting Jordan Wright, and he's that guy that like knocked the fuck out of somebody out cold and then did the ballerina shit after the fight. Remember that? And we were like, what in the fuck? He was doing like ballet in the cage.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and then he's had a tough loss since then, but he's a finisher. I'm very excited to see those two go at it because Julian's a badass too. It's going to be a good fight, and I like middleweight fights. That's like right where you get to the Phil Haws of the world, them one-shot killers, bro. Prelims, Bruno Silva's a good fighter. Ramazan Imiev's awesome. Nate Landwehr is that weirdo guy. He's fighting Ludwig Quine. I've seen that Dana Batgary fight, but not a lot of big names, dude.
No, it's another weak card.
It is, and it's going to happen. You know, there's 52 weeks in a year. There's 52 weeks in the year, and the UFC is nice enough to give us 46 weekends of fights. Injuries, COVID, weight miss. It's hard to do this. You know, like Dana, Hunter, and Mick.
Strategically planning your pay-per-views. You know, having multiple big names on there. Not every fight night's going to be a barn burner. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, we've got some pay-per-views coming up with 3 title fights, 2 title fights, massive names. You know, George Masvidal, Leon Edwards, people like that. They're not going to be on the fight nights.
Right. And the fight nights are to, you know, if in the UFC's opinion, you know, those fight nights are to find the guys for the pay-per-views. They want us to fall in love with the Sugar Shawns and whoever, and then sell them to us for $84.95 on a pay-per-view. So it's like the ultimate farm system. Like, hey, every Saturday night don't have to be great, but we'll find the occasional killer on there and fucking...
Yeah, and you can put people like Sean Strickland in the main event.
Right.
He gets 5-round experience. Jared Cannonier gets 5-round experience.
Absolutely.
People like that...
Absolutely.
You know, I'm not going to say are number one contenders right now, but... may just be a couple fights away.
Right.
1 or 2 fights away, gets them that 5-round experience. Go ahead and get them a little limelight in the spotlight, and it just gets them a little more experience.
Absolutely. I love the fight nights. You know,
yeah, I do
the
too.
the week fight nights like that sometimes are some of my favorites because now listen, I don't miss a fight, but I like putting it on and doing my thing. I'm doing this and doing that. Okay, I'll go ahead and fold the kids' clothes and make something to eat and I'll stay. Well, if I hear Paul Felder going nuts, I'll run in the living room. What the fuck's going on? Yeah, but That's where you find them. That's where you find the young studs, man. And last Saturday night was no difference. Rodriguez made a name for herself, in my opinion. Damon Jackson made a bit of a name for himself, in my opinion. And I wouldn't be surprised to see either of them people on pay-per-view prelim cards. You know, hitting the pay-per-view prelims is just as good as being on the show.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little better because not 100% of people that watch every free fight watch the pay-per-views. You're getting even more eyes sometimes because, well, shit, I'll just read if Kamaru won tomorrow or not. You know, a lot of people don't want to pay for it. So we have a couple weeks here where it's not good. It happened to us in late August, too. Right after we started, there were a couple slow weeks. It's part of the game. But we did have a lot of news, a lot more news than I expected to have in a 6-day period. I'll say that. A couple small things. Brad Riddell got a fight with Rafael Fiziev. I think you love that dude.
Yeah, that's the Matrix guy.
That's the Matrix guy.
Yep.
Yeah. Love that dude.
Yeah, I like him. I like Brad Riddell.
I like Brad too.
That's kind of those fights where you hate to see.
I hate to see one of them go. I do.
You want to see them both keep climbing, but this is definitely going to stunt one of them.
I completely agree.
I'm not going to say they'll never make it, but
no.
But
it
definitely stunts them.
Someone's going to have to go back on a streak again. Yeah. Jeff Hands of Steel Neal is fighting Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Good fight.
Ponzinibbio was a fucking killer. Like wasn't losing ever. 2 years off due to injury. He came back and got slaughtered. So.
Yep, by Li Jingling.
Yeah, very curious to see what he does. Jeff Neal's, no joke, one of those guys who got a 5-round fight on a fight night that he would have never got a main event on a pay-per-view, but he got some 5-round experience.
Yep.
I can't remember who he fought.
Wonder Boy,
and he got dominated.
He got dominated.
Hey, that's part of it. Wonder Boy is.
And he came back and fought Neil Magny, lost there.
Yep.
So he's coming off a couple hard losses. Ponzinibbio just came off that war with Beza. What's his first name?
Miguel.
Miguel Beza, yep. And that was a war. I mean, a war.
Did he get finished?
No, he won.
No, Ponzinibbio.
Yeah, Ponzinibbio won.
Did he?
Yeah, he won a decision.
Who'd he lose to? He lost like 3 months ago.
Li Jingling.
Okay, Li Jingling finished him.
Yeah,
and then he won that decision. Got you. Yeah, so he could start a streak here.
Yeah.
He could.
This could be the start of it.
Jeff Neal ain't no joke.
No, he's not. And this could be Jeff Neal's bounce back.
I like Jeff. He reminds me of Neil Magny. I know that's weird to say because they had that fight, but a good fighter with not a lot of steam behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Don't matter if you're on a 4-fight win streak or not. Not a lot of steam behind Jeff Hands of Steel. This fight could do it. You know, Ponzinibbio is a super talent.
Ponzinibbio is definitely the guy the UFC wants to win.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. In the UFC's eyes, Ponzinibbio wins by 30-second KO.
Yeah, he could be a 170 champion in 5-8 years for them. They want this kid guy to win. They want him to win, yeah. One of my favorite guys, Hakeem Dawodu, Hakeem the Dream, got a fight with Mike Trezano. Not sure quite who that dude is, but he is a UFC fighter. Smiling Sam Alvey versus Ian Heinisch. What'd you think about that?
I'm surprised Sam Alvey is still on the roster. I would like to think that if he loses this fight, that's probably it for him.
Didn't he win his last fight?
I thought he lost.
I don't know.
I think he's on like a 4-fight losing streak.
I know I dislike him due to a little bit of... was that him that cheated that time with the nut shot?
And then ended up winning?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't him.
Who was that?
I don't remember his name, but I know what fight you're talking about because we talk about it a lot.
Mike Rodriguez was the guy that got fucked. The guy that should have got the liver shot finish, but ended up losing. But Smiling Sam, he always comes out and does the weird smile, and he just cringy as fuck, man. I don't like him. And I don't remember what happened last time, but I remember thinking he might be gone. He lost to Wellington Turman, that young British kid. He lost to Julian Marquez, who's fighting this weekend. Yep. Had a draw with Un Jung. Lost to Ryan Spann. Lost to Klidson Abreu, Jimmy Crute, Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. His last win was over 3.5 years ago against Gian Villante. You know that dude?
I knew he was on several fight losing streak. That's why I'm surprised he's still with the promotion.
I hope Heinisch fucking rocks him.
I think Heinisch will.
I think he will too. You know, Heinisch is 14-5. He's a younger guy, strong guy.
Some of the people he's lost to are people like Kelvin Gastelum.
Right, right.
Not necessarily a big
Doesn't
knock
make
on
you bad to
right.
lose. Yeah, yeah.
You know, he's losing to high level competition.
Some other by the way, that Ponzinibbio fight is December 11th, which is shaping up to be so badass. A little bit of bad news. Luke Rockhold had to pull out of the UFC 268 fight against Sean Strickland. That bums me out for a couple of reasons. One, because Rockhold's like trying to come back. He's been gone. Maybe he doesn't get to now. Who knows? He said no surgery. He said 6 weeks of physical therapy, and he should be good to get back into camp. It just seems so weird. He was talking so much shit. Him and Sean Strickland had successfully made me give a shit about their little undercard fight.
Right.
I was like, oh shit, it's about to get real. Sean Strickland's the sick fuck who says, I could kill him in there. Get paid to kill someone? Why not? Like, he's a sicko, and people don't like him. Luke Rockhold's a fucking supermodel. People love to hate him or love him. It was shaping up to be an awesome fucking fight.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because if Luke Rockhold came back and won this fight,
oh, baby.
he's in there.
Strickland's top 10.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, it's a bummer.
So if Luke was to come back and win this fight, I mean, he's right back in the mix. Former champion.
I don't think
he's back in.
I don't think it was an easy fight for Luke, but I think it was his best good chance at coming in and beating a top 10 opponent.
Yes.
Nothing against Sean Strickland, but if you remember, he got into the top 10 via Uriah Hall.
Yeah.
Who, let's be real, I mean, Dana White's employed him for 10 years and will tell you he fucking sucked. All he does is let you down. I mean, that's Uriah Hall's, MO. But
2 minutes into the fight, if Uriah Hall's not winning,
it's over.
He just goes into idle mode and
he doesn't throw.
Tries to survive.
Yeah, and that's what happened in the Sean Strickland
fight. From
the
get-go, if he's winning, he's deadly. But within half of the first round, if he is not in control, you've already won the fight.
Well, his last 2 victories, Uriah Hall, was the Chris Weidman leg break, which happened 5 seconds into the fight.
Yeah, he's like the only UFC fighter to ever win a fight without throwing a strike.
Yes, and Dana White put that out everywhere as a fuck him, because his fight before that, he got a 4th round TKO over Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
And Dana White came out right after the fight and said any of my other fucking fighters would have got that done in 1 round. Of course it takes Uriah Hall fucking 4 rounds. And just crapped all over him, dude. So Uriah's a big letdown. So I think Rockhold should try to keep the fight going. A month ago he was trying to fight Chimaev. Don't fucking do it. Don't do it if you want a future, because you will give him all of your shine. Chimaev will be more of a superstar than he was last summer when he fucking knocks your ass out in the first round. So get the Strickland fight back. If you got to move it a month, move it a month. 6 weeks, 8, whatever you got to do to keep the fight, because that's his best chance at landing in the top 10, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree one bit.
The biggest fight news for me, I think for you too, is Leon Edwards and George Masvidal. So there's history here because, I heard something the other day on ESPN that Jorge Masvidal, however you want to say it, is the second biggest superstar in the fight game, second to Conor. Mm-hmm. And it blew my mind. I mean, I remember all the hype last summer. I remember us fanboying a little bit. But they're right. He is the second biggest star. I mean, with Conor out, that's the man. That's the money fight. That's Red Panty Night. And Leon, when Jorge was starting this run of victories, he might have even been coming off a loss that night. I don't remember, but I think he won because he was getting interviewed by...
That was the night he beat Darren Till.
That was the night he knocked out Darren Till. Mm-hmm. So this is like 2 or 3 fights into this new Jorge run. And George is getting interviewed, and Leon's across the room talking some shit. And Masvidal, being the bad motherfucker he is, like literally walks up straight to Leon and says, "Say it to my fucking face." And Leon starts to talk shit, and George hits him with the 3-piece and a soda, which became like famous after that. 3-piece and a soda, because he hit Leon Edwards so fast 3 times, cut Leon, and Leon never did nothing about it. Never said, "Let's fight, motherfucker. Try that, motherfucker," or threw a punch back. It was one of those deals where George hits him 3 times and then it gets separated and everybody's holding everybody back. Chael Sonnen and a couple other guys said it's a tragedy this fight didn't happen 2 years ago. I don't think so. I think it would have been huge, but it's bigger now. Leon's on the 9-fight unbeaten streak. I'm not going to say win streak because of the eye poke, but he's begging for the title shot, and he can't get it. They gave you Nate Diaz, and you dominated, but somehow blew it. Mm-hmm. This is the fight. If you think you're that much better than George, duh. If George beats Leon, baby, it's Usman Masvidal 3, whether you like it or not. Unless it's Covington Masvidal.
Oh, my Lord.
Which is the ultimate storyline. If this was WWE, baby, it would be Colby Masvidal in 6 months for the undisputed gold. But
they would have them coaching a season of tough just
got
so
to.
They would have whatever it is, 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 13, however they wanted to do it.
They do 4 divisions and have it be 6 months of a season because it'd be so
much
fucking
shit talking.
badass. There ain't a better shit talker in the game. Oh, I don't know which one of their names I was going to say. They are the 2 best shit talkers in the game, Colby and George.
Yeah.
Bro, they'll sell the fight. I mean, it may not be the biggest fight of all time, but they'll sell it harder than anyone. Fucking 2 months ago, Colby was like talking about Dustin Poirier's wife trying to get a fight with him. Like, there's no holds barred with this dude. And Masvidal Colby, man, they were teammates, roommates, brothers. They lived together. There's old shitty flip phone footage of them wrestling and Colby teaching George wrestling and George teaching Colby striking. Like, they were brothers. And then the split. And now they hate each other's fucking guts. It would be the ultimate fight, the ultimate storyline. All that's got to happen is Leon's got to choke and Colby's got to win. And it all happened in the next 8 weeks.
Yep.
Who do you got in Leon versus Masvidal?
On my initial gut instinct, tough fight, probably Leon.
Wow. I guess I hadn't really thought about it yet.
I haven't really broke it down in my head, but my first initial instinct would be Leon.
Leon's definitely more technical.
For sure. He's the more well-rounded.
He's the more well-rounded fighter. But there's some sort of like, I don't know, panache Masvidal's got. I can't think of the word, panache. There's something about this dude, man. He's just a beast. He's a knockout machine. He's a veteran. This dude's been fighting since he was fucking a kid. You know, he's famous from the Kimbo Slice YouTube street fights. That was Jorge Masvidal back then. And here he is now on top of the world. Private jets, fucking wearing the robe on the private jet. The whole storyline last summer was epic. And it made him even bigger. Bigger than the BMF, bigger than the Nate fight. So, George knocked out Nate in round 3. 18 months ago, 2 years ago now.
Yeah, something like that.
Leon decisioned him. Now, I know MMA math is something we try to avoid because it just don't work. But to me, that seemed like George wins that discussion there. He knocked out Nate. You didn't. In fact, in the last minute of the fight, you gave it away. You still won on points, but if that was a fight to the death, you were going to lose. If there was no time limit, you were done. And you showed us all. So, you know, I take that into consideration. I think George has so much confidence from fighting Usman a couple times, from punking him in the backstage, from talking shit for 2 years. I think he'll be like on a high horse almost, you know, but not big-headed. I'm taking Masvidal by finish. I'm taking Masvidal by epic highlight knockout. He'll get to talk a little shit. He's been saying for 6 months, I want the title again or the fight that gets me there. And I understand I need to earn it. He is going to take Leon's fucking soul. I mean, Leon's been waiting on this title shot for how many years? Let's say 4 fights into the streak, he was like, can I get a title shot? So the last 6 fights, he didn't fight for 2 years. So for 3 or 4 years, Leon's been saying, I'm next, right? Can't get it. He's about to lose it, dude. I think so. I'm taking George. George by finish. The only negative to that fight being announced was Figueiredo Moreno 3. Now I don't know if they're I don't know if it's related, but the same news announcement that said Masvidal Leon said, by the way, we're moving that to January. What is UFC 269? 270.
Yeah, they're moving it to 270.
January 20th?
Yeah, I think so.
So they're adding 5 or 6 weeks in between the fight.
Mm-hmm. But also, that was the same fight card that had Ngannou and Gone, Izzy and Whitaker, which we talked about this last week.
Right.
And I have seen it now to where they're targeting Izzy versus Whitaker, moving it to February.
For 5 minutes, it became a 3 title card on January. Now, I looked all day. Now, we work full-time jobs. We got lives. I didn't really look all day, but I tried to find it several times. I never found anything, not a screen grab, not a fan, nothing saying the Izzy fight was getting moved. Where did you see that?
May have been Fight Tale.
I couldn't find it anywhere.
But yes,
it's okay.
I did see that to where they were looking at moving it to February 12th.
It's okay. Like we said a little bit ago, it just makes February another badass fight card.
It makes marketing sense.
Heavyweight champion of the world has to be the main event.
It has to be.
Stylebender Whitaker 2 has to be the main event.
Yes.
It just makes sense.
Yep.
And I'm fine with it.
I knew it was too good to be true. I mean, from a fan standpoint, this was as good as it fucking gets.
Well, you were talking now you're getting 3 title fights and 5 fights that might be 5 rounds,
Yeah.
Another thing about the George Leon is Leon tweeted out millionaire, which all the bullshit about fighter pay. Leon Edwards shouldn't be a millionaire, if the UFC don't pay nobody. And Jorge said, "You're welcome." So just a little shit talk on the internet, but they're getting paid for a big fight. Also, I watched the Contender series last night. I've been slacking on Contender, but last night reminded me that it is just as fucking good as watching Fight Night, bro. And the post-fight presser, my main man Dana came out and got asked if any chance Leon Masvidal could be 5 rounds. And he scoffed. And he was like, no. I don't know why. Nate Leon was 5. George Leon is a main event to me. Maybe I wouldn't buy the pay-per-view. I mean, of course I would. I would buy the pay-per-view. It's a main event fight. I would have liked it to be 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Better chance of getting a finish in 5 rounds. Showcasing that Masvidal is one of your main stars by making it 5 rounds. And introducing Leon into that kind of stratosphere of stardom by making it 5 rounds. So, to me, it's a total miss to leave it at 3. And it's not like Gaethje Chandler where we said, it's only going 1 round anyways. I mean, this one might go.
Yeah, just like we were sitting here debating on who we think will win. If it gets finished, it's because George finishes the fight.
I agree.
If it goes to decision, Leon wins the fight.
I see what you mean.
I think he points him to death.
I understand.
I think he stays on the outside,
I think
circling the whole time.
I think you're right.
I think he tries to point him. Will he get caught? We don't know.
Maybe not caught, but it just takes a couple knockdowns to even the score. I mean, a couple knockdowns, and George has got him a 10-8 round. Dance all you want, baby. The best you got's a draw. Can you imagine Leon getting 10-8'd in the first and then dancing around and out-pointing for 2 rounds and getting a draw? How much shit he would get? This is why we don't want you, Leon. You're not a fucking killer. You're not a finisher, I think the last fight that had a finish with him involved in it was when Usman finished him 7 years ago, which is another weird wrinkle to this, If Usman retains and Leon wins, you're looking at another rematch. So a lot of guys here who have already fought, different era. But if anything, Usman's on more steroids, stronger puncher, better technique, more confidence. If anything, he's far more dangerous now than he was the first time he whooped Leon's ass, which I think was a decision. I just was talking shit. But A lot of good fights coming up, man. I'm excited. It's a super good time to be a fan. For all the good shit like that, though, there's a little bit of bad in the fight world right now with the Jon Jones shit. We all know he beat the shit out of his wife, and his kids had the hotel people call the police. But he got banned from Jackson Wink today, which I don't think he's banned. I just think they said, you are not welcome here until you are sober and get past this shit, man. You cannot keep doing this shit. We can't have this reputation. Like, he socked his girl around a little bit and then headbutted a police car and all sorts of crazy shit. And I also heard that he was going, all 5 of you try to take me on, and calling them pussies. It's just like trashy shit that you don't want the heavyweight champion of the world to do. So I'd rather him never even get the title shot now, you know. John is what he is. DC said it 5 years ago. This man will never change. His coaches look at him and see a superstar that'll never make it because he'll never change. And he talked some shit that's kind of coming to fruition. Like, John is the ultimate fuck-up. The same night he was inducted to the Hall of Fame and said, I'm fighting at heavyweight in spring, he blows his career. I mean, they're not going to cut him. He's one of the top 3 stars probably, but it's not a good look. And John actually made a statement after the banning, and I'll read it. He said, I had a heartbreaking conversation over the phone with one of my longtime coaches last night. Really hurts to lose the support of someone I respect so much. Sincere thank you to the rest of the coaches for staying in the fight with me. Our journey continues. He's basically pulling his dick out saying, well, all those other guys that coach are coming with me. That can't be true, right?
I wouldn't think so.
Jackson Wink is Jackson. I mean, that's a big superstar gym.
Yeah, that's
They're not
huge.
splitting up to follow this fucking head case who may not even get another fight in the UFC. We don't know. But definitely some drama. Definitely some beef. I don't know, man. I never liked Jon Jones. Didn't like him when he was always winning. And don't like him when he's blowing it like this either. I thought he lost his belt to Dominic Reyes 2 years ago. I think that's heartbreaking because he's done nothing since then. Absolutely nothing since then. And Reyes has went on like a 3-fight losing streak, probably questioned his career choice, like went from #1 contender interim titles to, you know, where is he? Well, next time we hear his name, he'll probably be fighting number 10, you know?
Right.
And you're one loss away from dropping out of ranking. So it's just really sad to see because Dom Reyes is a good dude, super nice dude. And Jon Jones is just a bag of shit. And I know he watches, and I know he's going to see that and be a little upset about it, but he's just a piece of shit, man. I've always thought that. I hate to go out on a bummer like that. You got anything else?
Well, to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, one of the big up-and-comers, Luis Pena, Violent Bob Ross.
Violent Bob.
Same situation. He got arrested for domestic battery. They let him go.
Yeah, they got rid of him.
UFC cut ties with him.
Yeah, that got brought up at the press conference last night.
Which I understand the
difference.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I get that, and that made that's kind of an eye opener to everybody. Like,
Right.
This is how important Jon Jones really is.
Right.
If he was clean, you have this nice up and comer, Violent Bob Ross. I mean, he was huge.
Super good technique.
Yeah,
Great fighter.
great.
Had a
They cut
bright
him.
future. And he probably still has a bright future in some other organization. And maybe he can pull himself up by the bootstraps and be back in a couple of years. You never know. One thing we do know is, Dana will usually let you get away with murder if he sees something in you. So it's telling that they did cut him. But that was brought up at the press conference last night. And Dana said, did you read the police report? He's like, Jon Jones did some dirty shit, but it pales in comparison to what Luis Pena just did. So apparently it was some bad shit. I don't know how bad, but he beat someone, a lady, up badly. So, and there's the superstar factor, and then the how bad the actual incident was. I'm not condoning any of that shit. I think it's gross, like when dudes do that. I do, especially when you're a fucking juiced up 260 fucking pound heavyweight. Like, what a piece of shit. You know his woman is a petite, super hot white chick. I've seen her. The thought of him hitting her is like gross. It's like, oh my God, his fist is like the size of her head, you know? And Pena's no different. I mean, he's a smaller fighter, but it's gross. But yeah, you know, you cannot cut Jon Jones. You can't. You can sit there and say, you know what, behind closed doors, I'm never giving that piece of shit another fight. But you can't cut him, or he's just going to be the Bellator champion of the world, or the ONE FC champion of the world. You know, he's totally pissed his career away. Mm-hmm. And I hope it's not this case for Pena. He was Violent Bob Ross, man. Big red afro, great technique, good power, good jiu-jitsu. He had a career going. He had probably on a win streak, you know. He's a good fighter. It's just a bummer to see. But, you know, I go to Vinci, like, religiously now, and they say it all the time. Not Coach, but the guys that go, you know. Everyone here is fucked up in the head, bro. No one comes to take this kind of pain and shit if you're not fucked up in the head. And Dana says it all the time. Like, this is the fight business. What do you expect? These people, you know, these are the craziest of the crazy, the most fucked up of the most fucked up. There will always be the bad case. And I don't like that the UFC or the Raiders right now with John Gruden, I don't like that the companies have to take the brunt for something. I'll tell you this, if I did something retarded and was locked up over it, Trailborg, as much as they like me, are probably just going to fire me and be done with it.
Right.
Like, we're in a world where they can't do that because you're just giving the competition, you know. They're not worried if I go to Toyota. But you got to be worried if the only undefeated, I mean, the one loss we all know is a sham. Like, you cannot let Jones go. You know, he's too big. He needs to retire, quit drinking, move on, bro. But it was definitely a sad story, man. So thanks. I didn't want to go on a downer, and you brought up even more terrible news.
That was all I
God
had.
damn. Yeah. Like,
we've covered all the other news.
Yeah, that's it, man. Do it again next week?
Yep, next week, next Wednesday.
I'll see you then.